My name is Pam Sterling, and I want to welcome you to this video and thank you for joining me. You know, I'm a raw food lover, advocate, and coach, and I work with people and invite people into a program that I've created that I call the Outrageous Joy 30-Day Raw Food Adventure. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that a little bit later in another video, but I wanted to take some time today to share with you my personal story about why I'm so passionate about raw foods. And it really started with a health crisis that started for me about 3 years ago. In January of 2007, I decided to stop eating all flesh foods. So I haven't eaten red meat since 1976, but in January of 2007, I decided that I would stop eating fish and chicken as well, and just be what would be called a lacto-ovo vegetarian. Well, at the end of that year, in December of 2007, I went in for my annual physical, and what I discovered is not only was I heavier than I had ever been, I also was sicker than I had ever been. And on Christmas Eve, on 2007, I got a phone call from my doctor saying that they had gotten the results back from the lab tests they had done, and they discovered some abnormal cells, and that I was going to need to come back for some additional testing, in the new year. And I'm someone who's always been athletic and always been healthy, and so in short, it freaked me out that I got this phone call from my doctor, and it was kind of a don't worry about it over the holidays, but come see us as soon as you can after the new year. So I ended up becoming very concerned, and I was scheduled to go back for my doctor's visit on January 4th in the new year. That would be 2008. And it just so happens that the day before I was scheduled to go back for my doctor's appointment, I met someone who was a raw foodist. Now, I had heard she was a raw foodist, but I had no idea what that meant. And so when I had this opportunity to have a conversation with her, I said, well, what exactly does that mean? What does it mean that you're a raw foodist? I have no idea. I'm a vegetarian, but I have no idea what that means. And she said, well, she explained to me that what it meant is that she ate primarily fruits and vegetables, seeds and nuts that hadn't been heated above 118 degrees. And she explained to me some of the benefits of raw foods that had to do with enzymes, and they're more nutrient rich, and you have greater hydration, and a number of other benefits of raw foods. But the thing that she kept describing to me that I found really fascinating, and she was British, is that she kept saying that the food was gorgeous. It was just absolutely gorgeous and stunning. And I thought, gorgeous? I've never really thought of food as being gorgeous. So I asked her, I said, well, what do you eat? It's kind of probably the first question that most people have when they find out someone eats only raw foods, where you think they're going to eat celery sticks and carrots all the time. But she told me that she loved mangoes. She ate mangoes, and I was like, wow, I love mangoes. And that she ate a lot of avocados, and I said, I love avocados. And she said, and I eat fresh coconut and drink fresh coconut water. And I'm like, oh my God, I love fresh coconut. And as she began to describe the foods that she was eating, I just thought, wow, this is everything that's in my sort of list of all my favorite foods. And so I happened to remember that there was a raw food restaurant near my home, and I suggested that she and I go and have lunch there, which we did. And what I discovered is that the food was gorgeous, and not only was it gorgeous, it was absolutely delicious. And so I shared with her this about this phone call I had gotten from my doctor and the health challenge that I was facing, and I asked her if she thought that going on a raw food diet would actually help, and she said absolutely, she thought it would. And so I left that lunch, and I went directly to the bookstore. I did not pass go, I did not collect $200, I went directly to the bookstore, and I picked up 2 books on raw foods, one called Raw Food Detox Diet, and the other called Raw Food Real World. And the next day I went to my doctor's appointment, and I brought those 2 books with me, and I shared them with my doctor, and I said, do you think that this would help? And she said, absolutely. She said, what you need to do right now is do everything to boost your immune system. And raw foods are definitely going to help you do that. So I went raw immediately. And at that point I went 85% raw. And what that means is that all of my meals were raw foods, that is fruits and vegetables, seeds and nuts that haven't been heated above 118 degrees. All of my meals were raw, except for I allowed myself 3 meals a week that weren't raw. And what happened to me was remarkable. In the first week I lost 5 pounds. Over the course of that month I lost 10 pounds. Now remember, I was the heaviest I had ever been at the end of 2007. So in the first week of 2008 I lost 5 pounds. By the end of January I lost 10 pounds. I had a little bit of detox in the first week of going raw, where I had a little bit of a runny nose and headache, but after that, it was probably day 4 or 5, I experienced a burst of energy that was really beyond anything I had ever experienced before. It was just phenomenal, you know, like you can't contain yourself kind of thing, like you have so much energy. But the most important thing that happened for me is that at the end of January, I went in for surgery for this issue that my doctor had discovered. And a week later, when I went in to get the results of the surgery and talk with my doctor about it, she said, I'm a little concerned that you're going to be upset with me. And I said, well, why is that? And she said, well, we got back the pathology report from the lab, and they couldn't find any abnormal cells. And I said, are you kidding? You know, like, that is the best news you could ever give me. Not only was it great just because there were no abnormal cells, but because I was then so convinced of the power of raw food, and that through that raw food diet over those 30 days, I had completely healed myself and rid my body of those abnormal cells. And so because I had such a dramatic change in my own health, I became just a raw food advocate and passionate about raw foods. Over the next 6 months I lost another 10 pounds or so, so I probably lost 20 pounds total. But the most important things that happened for me is that I just had tremendous amounts of energy. My mental clarity was something I didn't even expect to experience, but I just found that I was thinking clearer. And I was a woman who was sort of starting into menopause, and so often menopause has a reputation of, you can sort of get this brain fog, but I had tremendous mental clarity, and I just felt fantastic. And the food was, I ate avocados every day. I learned how to make kale salad. I experimented with, lots of cool soups and things in the blender. Some of the things I found is that it was just so easy and so fun to create all of these new foods. And every time I created something, I was just amazed at really how gorgeous it was and how delicious it was. But the most important thing was my health. And that reversal really in the diagnosis that I got, and really a turnaround in just 30 days, was for me the thing that just sold me immediately on the power of raw foods to really transform our health. Now, since then, I've had the opportunity through my Outrageous Joy 30-Day Raw Food Adventure to work with a number of people who have come with a variety of different kinds of health issues, and have turned to raw foods as a way to at least attempt to see if they could get some relief or some help with their health issues. And those health issues have ranged anywhere from people who are pre-diabetic, like just a doctor's visit away from going on insulin, people who are in menopause and are experiencing extreme hot flashes and things like that. That's another thing that happened for me, is that my hot flashes completely went away within like 3 weeks. One of the other primary issues that people get help with is digestive issues. People who have been on like Prilosec and other sort of heavy doses of medication that helps them with digestive issues, never having to take a pill again once they went on raw foods. And then, of course, one of the things that happens with raw foods is that you just naturally go back to your body finds its ideal weight. And so a lot of people end up losing weight when they're on a raw food diet, and others might gain even a little bit of lean muscle mass. But there's just so many allergies. Just because part of a raw food diet is we're eliminating some of the common allergens of dairy, wheat, and soy, and just going back to the whole foods. But those are the reasons why I'm so passionate about raw foods. I've seen it not only transform my own health, but also the health of the people that I've had the privilege and opportunity to work with. And so what I want to do for you over the next few days is that I'll be sharing with you the stories of some other people who have also had some remarkable experiences on raw foods. They'll be sharing their stories with you as I interview them, and I'll be sharing those videos with you just over the next few days. And then if you're interested in learning more about my Outrageous Joy 30-day raw food adventure, there's a link below this video where you can actually click on that, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that adventure, what it's about, exactly how it can help you address whatever health issue you may be facing, and do that in the group of in a group of supportive people who are all going through this experience and this adventure together. One of the things that I really believe is that keeping it simple is the key to success on a raw food diet. So I've organized this whole program in a way to keep it simple for you so that you can be successful. I want to thank you for joining me today and allowing me the opportunity to share with you a little bit about my health journey and my passion for raw foods, and why I've become such an advocate and such a lover of raw foods. And I look forward to having you join me in future videos as I interview some of my clients who have worked with me on raw foods, and also share with you a little bit more about the Outrageous Joy 30-day raw food adventure. See you next time.